Welcome back. We're still working on building up a pie chart. And one thing that's sort of missing from what we have right now is that we don't have a clear title. I just have some data. I don't really know what that data is about. And if you've read the article on the website about using titles, then you know that this is an opportunity for us to help people understand the data visualizations that they're looking at. And in particular, I think a strong way to do that is to create a title that makes a claim about the data or asserts something about the data. And then we use the data visualization as a way to support that assertion. So what we want to do is add a title, and we want to make sure this title makes some sort of claim. Now, there's a lot of things that you could say about this plot. You could say, in Pennsylvania, less than a quarter of people are no longer married, implying that they were currently or had been married in the past and then either divorced or widowed. We could try to say that over a quarter of Pennsylvanians have never been married. I think for me, maybe what I'll say is the vast majority, or the majority, the way you want to say this, of Pennsylvania residents have been married at least once. So they're either currently married or they were married and they're now divorced or widowed. So let's go ahead and add that title. We have to think about where this is going to be held. We have this figure object that we created, and we had information about the pie chart and information about the layout. It turns out the title's held in this layout. So let's go ahead and make some room for it. I said I really kind of like putting them on different lines. And so what I'll say is title equals, we're going to use text, so that's going to be a string. So I'll say how about most PA residents have been married. All right. I need a comma because I have this extra or this additional argument inside of update layout, which is show legend. Just for bookkeeping, I'm going to hit return and put this close parentheses down here. That's how I like to structure my functions. You can do it any way you want. So now when I press enter, I'll get the title. Most PA residents have been married. And I left this write image and write HTML as SVG and HTML. So those are automatically updated. I don't need the PNG, so I'm not going to use it. Actually, I'll just go in here and say, I don't really need you, so let's get rid of that. Okay, fine. So now I only have these two files, and I really only want the SVG. And so I could, if I wanted to, get rid of this line. Something else that programmers often do is just comment it out. So you'll put this # in front, and this won't be run, but it's kind of there in case you ever want to come back and use it. We don't need this HTML. I'm going to delete it. You don't need to. I'm just doing it so that I only have the file I'm interested in right here. Okay. Now we have a title. If I think about it though, it's kind of on the top left, and this is the default for where Plotly places titles. I think it would be better if it was centered on this chart. And so what we're going to do is we're going to tell Plotly, no, really, we kind of want the title moved over to the right. Plotly sort of sees everything as in a plane on XY coordinates. And so how we tell it where we want the title is to specify the title X. So that's the X coordinate. And in Plotly, the entire range of the figure runs from 0 to 1. So 0 would be the left-hand side of the X axis and 1 would be the right-hand side. So if I just type in 0.5, that will move the title over halfway through the figure, which is the figure is sort of centered on this canvas. So that's where we expect it to be. So I'm going to run this and you'll see that, yeah, I have most PA residents have been married. It's right in the middle. Perfect. That's what we wanted. It to me seems a little high. So we can, if we wanted to, try to move it down. And the up and down would be along a y-axis. So you might expect this would be title Y, and you'd be right. So let's, instead of having it be at 1 where it defaults, let's try 0.9. I get an error because I didn't type a comma, I typed an M. All right, and now we've moved it down a little bit, and you can play around with this a little bit to see what would happen. Maybe I want 0.8. Now it's overlapping too strongly, so 0.85, that's okay. Something like this. Your other option, of course, for both of these alignment issues would have been just to export what you already had, bring it into something like Boxy or some other SVG editor, and move things around to be aligned as you want. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. That can be very quick. For me, I know the Plotly workflow fairly well, so a lot of these sorts of things can be done very quickly when I'm working on them, and then things that would be hard or finicky inside of Plotly, I will do inside of SVG editor. Okay, so now we have the thing that's titled. We've written a title that makes a claim about the data. We're claiming that most Pennsylvania residents have been married, and then we have data that supports that claim. We also have this line here that says write image as an SVG, and so we have this SVG here. If I were to go and download this, you'll see it has the title. This is how we add a title to a Plotly figure in general, whether it's a pie chart or not. And so I think with that, that's all we have to do in this video. In the next video, we're going to think about the coloring of these slices and how we might make them better to use. All right, that's all.